We are now 256 days away from the midterms. Today, the president went down to Georgia. It was supposed to be part of his mini tour to talk about, you guessed it, affordability. But the state has been in his administration's crosshairs for very, very different reasons. Last month, if you recall, the FBI seized ballots from the 2020 election in Fulton County. The county has taken the DOJ to court over it. Well, today, the Georgia State Election Board wrapped up a meeting, and one member said it looks like it's the state board versus Fulton County. The board decided to hire a private investigator to report them, but it is not exactly clear what that person is actually going to investigate. Usually the person who would look into voting issues is Georgia's Secretary of State, Brad Raffensperger. Instead, the board subpoenaed Raffensperger to testify about some of these alleged issues.
We are now just months away from the midterm elections, and already the battle over election oversight is intensifying. What began as a routine political visit to Georgia has evolved into a national controversy involving federal power, state authority, and the future of election integrity. Georgia has long been a political battleground, but Fulton County has now become the center of a much larger storm. Last month, federal agents seized hundreds of ballot boxes connected to the 2020 election, a move that immediately triggered legal pushback from county officials. Local leaders challenged the action in court, demanding transparency and justification for why ballots were being taken years after the election had concluded. At the same time, the Georgia State Election Board held a tense meeting discussing oversight measures, potential investigations, and escalating disagreements between state and county officials. Subpoenas were issued, private investigative measures were discussed, and confusion spread about who was leading the effort and why. Then a federal court unsealed the affidavit used to justify the FBI's seizure, and that document shifted the entire conversation. According to the filing, the investigation began with a referral from Kurt Olson, a figure previously connected to legal challenges surrounding the 2020 election, who now serves in a federal role overseeing election security. That detail changed everything because the debate was no longer just about ballot boxes. It became about who has the authority to initiate federal investigations and whether political affiliations influence that authority. Supporters argue that referrals are part of normal procedure. Critics argue that the political history surrounding this referral raises serious concerns, and perception, especially in an election year, can shape reality.
By the way, did you see they raided the Fulton County place, storage house? And now the Democrats have hired a massive team of lawyers. They have the ballots. That should be no problem, right? They have the ballots. FBI came in and raided. They found plenty of stuff. And the Democrats are fighting like hell, and I think it goes before a judge tomorrow, to not let anybody see the ballots. Why don't they want them to see the ballots after all these years? You know why they don't want? Because they cheated, that's why. They've taken the ballots, they have them now after years.
To understand the stakes, we need to step back and look at how federal investigations typically work. Search warrants require probable cause, judges must review sworn statements, and investigators must present sufficient justification before any action is approved. The system is designed to separate politics from law enforcement to ensure that investigations are rooted in evidence rather than ideology. But when a politically connected official is linked to the origin of an inquiry, questions naturally follow. Fulton County is not just another jurisdiction, it includes Atlanta. It played a pivotal role in Georgia's 2020 election outcome, and it remains symbolically significant in national politics. So any federal action there carries enormous weight. For some Americans, the seizure represents accountability and seriousness about election security. For others, it appears selective and politically targeted. That divide reflects the broader polarization surrounding elections nationwide. We are heading toward the midterms. Confidence in election systems remains fragile, and trust is already strained across party lines. When federal authorities remove ballots from a county facility, regardless of the outcome, it sends a powerful message. Some voters interpret it as proof something was wrong. Others interpret it as an attempt to create doubt where none existed, and doubt, once introduced, is difficult to erase. Elections depend not only on accurate counting, but on public confidence in the outcome. If that confidence erodes, even legitimate results face skepticism. Another critical issue is precedent. If political appointees can initiate referrals that lead to large-scale federal investigations into election materials, future administrations may feel justified doing the same. Legal scholars warn that once investigative power is perceived as partisan, institutional credibility becomes harder to maintain. Norms shift gradually, one action sets the stage for another, and what once seemed extraordinary can become routine. This is why observers across the political spectrum are watching closely. Because this story is not confined to Georgia, if similar actions occur in other competitive jurisdictions, the national impact would expand rapidly. Election workers themselves also face consequences. Local officials tasked with administering elections often become the subjects of intense scrutiny, despite being career administrators rather than political operatives. Legal battles and public controversy can create pressure, and pressure can discourage participation in future election administration roles. Transparency becomes essential in moments like this. Clear explanations of evidence standards, legal reasoning, and investigative thresholds help prevent speculation from filling the gaps. When information is limited, narratives take over, and once narratives solidify, they are difficult to reverse. So where does this leave us? We have an unsealed affidavit raising new questions, an ongoing legal confrontation, and a rapidly approaching national election cycle. Supporters see oversight, critics see politicization. Both interpretations will shape public discourse in the months ahead. But beyond partisan framing lies a deeper institutional question. Can federal law enforcement maintain public trust while operating in a deeply polarized political environment? Can election oversight remain credible when nearly every action is filtered through party identity? And can confidence in the democratic process be preserved while past elections remain under investigation? The midterms are approaching quickly, and long before ballots are cast again, the debate over how elections are investigated and how those investigations are perceived may influence the political landscape just as much as the campaigns themselves.